Hi, in today's video, I'm gonna take you back to a wonderful trip that I took to Europe last year. I took the photos on this Fujifilm X-T32 with the 35mm Fujinon lens. I have been exploring street photography for about a year now. Things are quite difficult to capture for a beginner like me. Anyway, let's get back to the video and see how these moments came to life through my Fujifilm. I have documented this in a photo book that I printed after the trip, and I just felt like reviewing it and hoping that it might help improve my photography. Here is a warm-up shot. It was taken in a town in Germany, Friedrichshafen, near Lake Constance. I love the mute tone the structure gives off. Well, talking about the lake, we sailed across the Lake Constance on a boat from Friedrichshafen while also enjoying the view of the lake and the distant Alps. The Constance is one of Europe's largest freshwater lakes and connects three countries, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The railing in the foreground adds perspective and gives scale to the vastness of the lake. The trail of bubbles left by the boat divides the frame diagonally into two. This is on board again. The doorway naturally creates a frame and directs attention to the silhouetted figure. I think the exposure is handled well, but a slight lift in the shadows would refine the balance. Looking back at these photographs now, I can see how much I have grown over the past year. My editing style has changed, the way I compose has evolved, and even the kind of scenes I'm drawn to feels a little different. The other day we went to Meersburg. It's a picturesque town on the shores of Lake Constance, known for its medieval charm. Walking through the Meersburg, we enjoyed its relaxed vibe and the beautiful vineyard. In this picture, the repetitive vineyard rows direct the eye gently towards the shimmering water. It is slightly overexposed near the top where the water meets the horizon. The small section of the blurred leaves in the foreground adds realism but slightly distracts. The large tree works beautifully as the main anchor and frames the lake and distant hills without overpowering the view. The foreground shadow adds texture and contrast, but the red and white post near the path is slightly distracting. In this photo of the Meersburg castle, the layering is strong. The textured stone wall leads the eye towards the buildings and then up to the castle and creates a natural visual climb. The person's blue outfit provides a nice color and complements the warm roofs and the greenery. In this picture, the leading lines from the walls and the railings work beautifully. However, it lacks a clear focus anchor, which weakens its visual impact. The viewer's eyes travel through the frame from the steps to the lamps to the boats, but does not settle anywhere. I feel that it's a visual clutter, yet I find it interesting. So here it is in my collection. Street photography has made me more observant, in a way, more connected to people. Even without speaking to them, I feel that I am a part of their world. Even for a brief second, it's this quiet, invisible connection that I really find special. It's a beautifully minimalistic architectural shot. It's bright and sharp. I think what draws me most to the art of street photography is how honest it is. Nothing is staged and nothing is perfect. It's just life unfolding as it is. Some photos turn out great, others don't, but each one teaches me something new about composition, emotion, or simply about people. I love that uncertainty, that sense of never really knowing what you will capture next. Our next stop was at the Ravensbrück. Unlike any other places we have visited, it stands out for its bustling energy, especially in the lively market squares and local artisan shops. I find that this picture is subtle, observational, and cinematic. The framing through the window creates a natural vignette, and the blurred window edges provide a soft frame. Unfortunately, I find the two grey umbrellas in the center slightly dominate the frame and obscure some of the street's visual rhythm. This photo was taken in Bregenz, a city in Austria, in a moving car. The shot has a strong minimalist feel and a calm cinematic tone. Like all of the photographs I have taken during the time, the sky is slightly overexposed, which flattens the tonal depth and steals attention from the cyclist, who should be the emotional focal point. This is a picture of my wife walking. The vast negative space above the subject gives it a contemplative, almost cinematic mood. The sloping line of the hill creates strong compositional flow that makes the eye kite from left to right. We went to Munich, and honestly, that wasn't a great trip because only then had the jet lag caught up to me, and that was the first time I felt very nauseated, and the crowd in the city worsened it. The feeling was nasty, and even to think about it today makes me feel very sick. However, I managed to take some pictures in the city. This photo is graphically striking and well controlled in tone, but the composition feels slightly rigid as the pose bisects the frame too mechanically, leaving the photo feeling more staged than alive. This photo, on the other hand, is more organic and emotionally engaging. We also went around the Allianz Arena, home ground of the FC Bayern Munich. This was shot at the entrance of the stadium. The vast negative space amplifies emotion and isolation. The geometric structure and sharp contrast between light and shadow creates a strong composition. The orange staircases pop against the muted industrial palette, and the glow falling across the floor adds cinematic warmth. In this photo, most of the frame sits in shadow and forces the eye to the direct doorway. The minimal light handling feels deliberate, but I feel that the shadows on the stairway could be lifted a little to give it a sense of entering the arena. After returning from Munich, my wife and I took a day trip to Zurich, and the city was stunning. I mean, stunningly expensive. And as we strolled around the city, we came across this iconic church clock tower, visible from all around. Tower framed behind the Zone 30 sign creates a strong juxtaposition. If it were to make a meaning or to make a commentary, it would have done well, but since I had no intentions, it only overpowers one over the other. In this photo, I tried motion blurring. Well, this picture typically depicts what I felt. The world out in the West is different. The blur of the tram suggests urban rhythm in a very fast paced world, contrasting to the one that I grew up and live in. I have a similar feeling with this one, a very cinematic and poetic capture. The framing through the archway adds mystery and depth. The top of the arc could be cropped tighter to focus the viewer's attention more directly. This is one of my favorite shots from Europe. This one stands out for its painterly light. We were there in the autumn, so we see the yellow leaves glow beautifully. I feel that this is one of my best. Strong composition, controlled color, and emotional storytelling. The leading line of the pier draws the viewer's eye directly to the solitary figure who anchors the frame. If I describe this picture, it feels heavy in emotional weight and makes the person feel small against nature's vastness. Traveling with a camera has taught me how places shape you. Germany has grounded me, it made me slow down. And France, on the other hand, made me feel lighter and more curious. I just tried to keep up with it, to stay open enough to see what the next rhythm brings. Unfortunately, transitions took a big toll on my body. The nausea and lightheadedness returned, and it felt too difficult to enjoy. Sat crippling near a washroom door. This is when I took this picture, and it's almost what I felt there. The sortie, which meant exit in French, in the picture is exactly what I was yearning for. I desperately wanted to get out of there, but it took standing in line for hours to get inside and just did not justify to exit right away. This picture is by far the best I have taken. I have named it The Daily Affairs of Mona Lisa, and I think this requires no explanation. The archway serves as a natural frame and draws the view's eye towards the grand building in the background, and the silhouettes of people in the foreground display liveliness into an otherwise rigid composition. This picture has a strong compositional structure. It is interesting how the man reading and the man walking competes for attention. It is a little distressful and would have been better to include just one subject. This is a photo from beneath the Arc de Triomphe. Nothing interesting, but here for the historical architecture. The use of natural framing with trees gives a lovely layered depth. However, the composition feels slightly busy. The tree on the left dominates too much space and competes with the basilica. That's pretty much it for today's video. It's crazy how time flies by. I took these photographs this time of the year last year, and I'm glad I finally sat down to share them. Thanks for watching till the end. Bye bye.